to Lavender Vibes. I'm here today doing another meal. I know I did a meal during Super Bowl, which was in February. Now it's March, and time is flying as I'm sure you all feel the same way. So today is March 16th. It's not quite St. Patty's Day, but it's close. So I figured I will put on my green shirt, green bracelet, green earrings. um, I always enjoy this time of the year for a lot of reasons. One is, fun fact, if it would have been shy of 1 minute, I would have been a St. Patty's baby. That's right. My birthday's March 18th. And so I always do a little something for St. Patty's Day. I usually go to a pub and get some cabbage, and corned beef, or I go to a pub and have a drink, um, hang out with some friends. That was back in the day. Still hang out with friends occasionally, but we just don't get together as much as we want to because everybody's busy. Life be life, and as they say. So in these future or in these later years, a lot of times my family and myself will go out of town. We used to, and we still do love Pigeon Forge. So many years we had did Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg, all that good stuff. Charleston is another great spot. But this year, staying local, I've really enjoyed it this weekend so far. I started the celebrations early, and I'm just saying for myself, I usually celebrate all month of March. Is so much that my daughter gets sick of me talking about my birthday. She'll say, "Your birthday, your birthday." Well, anyway, celebrated last night. Me and my husband went out. Our downtown is gorgeous here, so we went downtown, did a moonshine tasting, which was really cool. Bought some gin from the local distillery. They do gin, rum, vodka, and bourbon. So we had their products before, but we had never tried their gin. So we bought some of the gin, walked downtown, grabbed some food, went to one of our local bars downtown, met some really great people. That was really cool. And one gentleman and his wife had talked to us for a while. We were at the bar, and they were so gracious. Before they went to the play that they were going to see, they bought both of us a drink in honor of my birthday. So that was really sweet. Um, didn't ask for it, but that was a very, very pleasant surprise. So I greatly, happily obliged. We had smoky old fashions, which puts me in mind I am going to do a smoky old fashioned one day soon. I love smoky old fashions. We both do. So I am going to do a smoky old fashioned and do some drinks too. But today we are, or I am, doing a few other traditions that a lot of people eat for St. Patty's Day. I'm not doing corned beef, but I am doing salmon. I know, you may think salmon, but yeah, so I'm switching to meat. But what I am doing is Irish soda bread. I'm also doing cabbage. I have my cabbage here that I will be doing with some bacon. So got the green cabbage, and I love cabbage. I eat cabbage all the time. As a matter of fact, last night had Brussels sprouts with my pizza. Love Brussels sprouts too. But again, doing cabbage with some bacon, drippings, chopped up bacon in the cabbage, salmon, soda bread, Irish soda bread, and some baked potatoes. So stay tuned. I'm going to get all my ingredients together, and we're going to get started. And today I'm operating on a going on about 22-hour fast. I don't know if I told you all in the past. I'm pretty sure I did. That I also practice intermittent fasting. So today I'm on about a 22-hour fast. Went for a long walk 2 days this weekend. Also did my workout, a HIIT workout that's sort of like CrossFit, and I fast for both of those workouts. I fast today, of course, like I said, for my walk, and it just helps you. And oh, I won't go into the benefits. I'll just say for me, it helps me with energy, and it helps with a lot of other things. So whenever this meal is done and it's time to eat, I'm really gonna chow down. It's gonna be a great meal. Fingers crossed. I'm sure it will be. Never done Irish soda bread before, but the good thing is I have a I have a pan here, stoneware, that I'm going to use for the Irish soda bread. So I think it's, it'll be more like a loaf. The recipe that I'm using said that you can do it in a skillet, you can do it in a pan like this, whatever you want. I'm going to do mine as a loaf. So I'll be back soon. I'm just going to get some of my ingredients together and then we'll get going. All right. Okay, I'm back. What I did was I got all my ingredients together for the bread. It's a lot of steps to this, even though the recipe says it's easy. We'll see how easy it is, but it doesn't seem too bad. Like I say, this is my first time baking soda bread, so it doesn't seem like it's going to be too difficult. The recipe picture definitely makes it look really good, and I love soda bread, so hopefully this turns out really well. So what I'm going to do is put the camera on the counter so you all can see exactly what I'm doing. And uh, I I wasn't I was forgetting one thing. I am going to be celebrating with a couple friends tomorrow. Actually, one of my good friends. We're going to the gun range, and then we're going to grab a bite to eat afterwards. So that should be fun. So, like I said, celebrations all month long, especially since you only turned 28 one time. Just kidding. I will be turning 48, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. I'm very thankful to God that I get to see another year. So, with all that being said, like I said, I'm going to turn the camera this way. So you can see exactly what I'm doing. So I have flour here. It also adds to soften butter, uh, as well as you're going to be using sugar, baking soda. So I have my sugar, um, baking soda. There's my baking soda. It's the baking soda, baking powder, buttermilk. Then it asks for you to make sure you have another fourth cup of buttermilk, one egg, and then again I mentioned the butter. It actually wanted me to melt a cup full of butter and then also a fourth cup of butter, which I have here. So it tells you to mix the flour, uh, the softened butter, baking soda, baking powder, and salt all together in a large bowl, and then stir in the 1 cup of buttermilk in the egg. So the only thing it didn't mention is which softened butter do you use initially. So I'm just going to take a look at this and see exactly. Okay, so what it wants you to do is basically brush some butter. You're going to make a mixture with the butter and the fourth cup of buttermilk in a small bowl, and that's what you're going to brush the loaf with after you pretty much knead everything together. So I'm taking that as you use the fourth cup of butter at the last. So I'm going to go ahead and pour the 4 cups of flour because it requires 4 cups of flour. It also, again, asks for you to use the softened butter. So I'm going to use the one that is that has the most butter in it, which initially it asks for you to soften a 1/2 cup of butter. So just to make sure that I'm using the right bowl, because of course once butter melts, they look the same. So I'm just going to measure this out to make sure that I'm using the right one. And my microwave does not play whatsoever. So whenever I soften the butter, it pretty much melted the butter, which is fine. Let's see. So that's the 4th cup of butter. Let's see. This one is the 1/2. And the good thing about it is I have more butter that I can melt. So that's no problem whatsoever. And I am using Irish butter. I love Irish butter. It just seems like it's, I don't know, creamier. I love Irish butter and I love to use ghee. Those are 2 things that I really like to use. So I'm going to pour the butter in. Also, I have 4 tablespoons of white sugar. Excuse me, my hands it's getting a little messy here. So 4 tablespoons of white sugar. Then it also asks for you to add the baking soda. So I'm going to go ahead and add the baking soda and the baking powder. It's the baking soda. Here's the baking powder. And it wants you to add some salt. It was a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. So what I used was I did a 1/2 cup of butter, 4 tablespoons of white sugar, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and 1 tablespoon of baking powder. And then I just poured in a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and start mixing that all together. And as I'm mixing it in together, I'm going to stir in the 1 cup of buttermilk and the egg. I enjoy cooking. I enjoy cooking for my family, friends, other people. One time I was in a ministry at church called Kingdom Kitchen. I still work with certain ministries with the church, but Kingdom Kitchen was one where we would deliver meals as well as you can either buy a meal or you can cook a meal. And I just poured in the buttermilk. I used to opt for cooking a meal because how I looked at it is, unless they had certain dietary restrictions, which we was always told of that. But how I looked at it is, you're delivering these meals to people that are either sick or recovering from surgery, or just, maybe someone had a baby, you name it, a fortunate death of a loved one. So it's like, hey, they may not have had a cooked meal since whatever event happened. So what I would do is cook a meal, and while I was cooking a meal for them, I would also cook a meal for my family. So it's like killing two birds with one stone, um, so that I wouldn't have to come back and do another separate meal for the three of us. I would just go ahead and cook everything together, and that always worked out. Uh, Now I did that for several years and enjoyed it. And I'm always on standby if they need me. I always tell them like, hey, if you don't need me, just let me know. But now I work with the pantry where we hand out boxes of food to um, individuals every first and third Sunday. Um, Shout out to my church, Kingdom Life, here in South Carolina. So we hand out boxes of food to individuals. The good thing about it is they don't even have to get out their car. So once they sign up, they can come and get a box of food either the first or third Saturday of each month. If there's a need where they need more food for whatever reason, we don't ever turn anyone away. Um, Other individuals pick up for other people, which is really cool too. So if it's a situation where someone is sick and are unable to pick up or working, everybody's not sick, thank God, but if they're working or just not able to get to us, then they can have designated people to pick up for them. So that's really cool. And we just have a list of those people that's able to pick up, and that's that. So from what I can see so far, going back to this soda bread, it is really simple. Um, I like when a recipe says it's easy and it's actually easy. So I am pretty much finished stirring all the ingredients in. And the last thing it wants you to do, of course, you're going to knead it on a lightly floured surface. So I'm going to get out my cutting board for that. It says that the dough will be a little sticky, which is fine. And then it wants you to combine the melted butter with the fourth cup of buttermilk. Now, I'm sure you can remember, I ended up using all my butter for the first few steps of this recipe. So now I'm going to melt another fourth cup of butter to go along with the fourth cup of buttermilk. Okay, I'm back with the melted butter that I needed to add along with the bread and the buttermilk. So I had to clean up a little bit. One thing about me, and I'm going to take this bracelet off because it's getting in the way. But one thing about me, I do not like continuously or even starting cooking in a messy kitchen. So I had to spruce up a little bit. And I have my cutting board here that's lightly floured, since they said this bread can get a little sticky. And I'm just gonna slap it on there. Um, then I'm gonna mix the buttermilk with the butter and brush it on. I have my brush that I can use as well. And we'll get started. from there. I forgot about one other celebration that I was going to be doing. Tomorrow, I'm going to spend some time with my daughter who's on spring break, along with two of her friends that are basically my goddaughters. And we're going to go play some games, go to the mall, of course, grab something to eat. So I will be fasting again because all of this food can be pretty hefty in the calorie realm, of course. And then Tuesday, the day of my actual birthday, my daughter, my mom, and myself is going to have lunch. That will be a very light lunch for me because once again, the calories. But the restaurant we're going to, they pretty much have some really good things such as salads, deli sandwiches, and an amazing cake. It's a sweet potato cake. My mom, as well as my husband, both asked me if I wanted a whole cake, and I really appreciate the thought, but I do not need a whole cake, especially of that cake. No, making a little bit of a mess, but that's all good because it's so good. And get this out of the way so y'all can see what I'm doing. I will literally eat the whole thing if I had it available to me in that type of capacity. So the good thing about it is they sell cake slices, and they also sell cupcakes that are sweet potato cakes. So I will vouch for that instead of the actual cake itself because, like I said, I'll eat the whole thing. So that will be my actual day to have a good time. So, combination of a lot of things. Family, friends. Also going to hit the gym my birthday because, like I said, got to accommodate for those calories. Not used to eating out this much, but every year around my birthday, I always eat out because who wants to cook on their birthday, you know? But like I said, I'm making a whole event out of mine. But anywho, enough about my birthday. Let's get back to the task at hand, which is this. I'm just going to already speak into existence this delicious soda bread, Irish soda bread loaf. So as you can see, I'm kind of shaping it and molding it in the shape of my pan. Just right here. And like I said, it's stoneware. I don't know if you guys use stoneware. I absolutely love my stoneware. I can't be without it. I have this size. I have a bundt cake. That's a stone pan. I also have a flat 13 by 9 by 13, or it's probably 11 by 14 stone pan that I use. And it's just the best. It's definitely the best. So I think this is good to go. I'm going to wait until I get it in the actual pan before I brush it with this mixture. And I already have the oven on 375. It asks for you to preheat the oven at 375. So it's been preheating for quite a while. It's definitely ready to go. Shaping this bread puts me in mind of Play-Doh. I used to love Play-Doh. But anyway, I'm going to put it in here. It fit quite nicely, as you can see. So now I'm going to brush it with this mixture. And I need to look and see how long I need to bake it. That's one thing I forgot to check out. How long should it bake? The next thing on the agenda will be the cabbage as well as the salmon. My computer's going a little slow. And the good thing about it, they say you can freeze this bread as well. I doubt we'll have anything to freeze. Uh, since it's such a small loaf. But anywho, I will have to find how long. Okay, there it is. So basically, you bake it in a preheated oven. Use a toothpick, or sometimes I use a very fine knife to see if it's done or not. But it says that you need to bake it 45 to 50 minutes. It should come out the pan clean. Check for doneness after about 30 minutes. So I'm going to set the timer on the oven for 30 minutes. And I'll check on it in about 30 minutes. My oven cooks pretty fast, so shouldn't have to wait too long for it. And then while it's cooking, I'm going to get started on the cabbage and the salmon. And the potatoes. The potatoes, I'm just going to pretty much do those with butter, garlic, lemon. What else do I usually use? Butter, garlic, lemon. And I always add, of course, a little bit of salt. Sometimes a little bit of paprika with the potatoes. But I will see you guys back when the bread is coming out the oven. Okay, so I just checked on the bread and it's looking really good. I really believe that it's done, but I'm just going to let it brown just a little bit longer. In the meantime, I chopped up my cabbage, as you can see here, and I season it with a little bit of smoked paprika. I also use some complete seasoning. It's just like a mixture of spices. This is really good on vegetables or meat. A little bit of roasted herb and garlic, because I love garlic. Garlic. And just a little bit of Tony Caterans for some spice. So I have my skillet cooking. I'm going to cook the bacon as well. Once it's done, I'll chop it up, mix it in together with a little bit of the drippings, and then I'll get started on the salmon. While this is going, I'm also going to prep my potatoes. Like I said earlier, I'm just going to pretty much season the potatoes with some butter just to make it a little bit healthier. I'm going to use olive oil because olive oil is one of my favorites. But that is the timer letting me know that I need to go ahead and check the bread again. So I'll be back with you all in a few. Okay, so everything is finally done. Just want to let you all know exactly what I did, and it's a finale. Here is the cabbage with the bacon. I do need to shred that bacon up a little bit finer, but I know it's going to be delicious because, like I said, I cook cabbage quite often. Um, the Irish bread turned out beautifully. So excited about that. Can't wait to try it. And another thing about these stone pans, they really hold heat, in case if you was wondering. So keeps the bread warm. I could have put some foil on top of it, but I can tell by the way the bottom feels, it's still hot. Here are the potatoes. Let me grab another mitt. And pretty much, like I stated before, I use a lot of the same seasonings. Like I said, I do a lot of garlic. I usually do some lemon on my potatoes too, but here are the potatoes all ready to be eaten. I use some olive oil instead of butter with those. And the salmon. Now, one of the slabs that I bought was already herb, garlic, roasted salmon. I usually like to use my own seasonings, but I said, why not? So I did one of each. This one here is the one that I season on my own, along with some Cajun seasoning, garlic, things like that. This one here was already seasoned with herbs. Looks like they coated it pretty well, and so I have bought already seasoned garlic, salmon before. I usually do it as like a bourbon glaze, but again, I've been fasting, so I'm really hungry now at this point. So no bourbon glaze this time, but I bake it with seasonings. It's just as good. And since I didn't have my Irish whiskey, of course, I couldn't do the drink. I did find a gin drink that was Irish based that was formulated with some kiwi. Of course, I don't have kiwi. So I'm going to try that another time. You might be seeing a video real soon with that one because it looks like it's like a martini made with kiwi and gin, as a matter of fact. They use like an Irish-based gin. So I may be making that, but in the meantime, since I didn't have that, well, what did you use? I'm so glad you asked. I took some tequila and I mixed it with just regular Reposado tequila. I added some passion fruit tequila that I have, along with a guava and mango juice. And along with that, I added just like a little bit of simple syrup, agave syrup. Not simple syrup, but agave syrup. So we'll have that. In the meantime, since I don't have my whiskey and I don't have kiwi to make the Irish gin drink, but again, tequila always works. So, cheers. I hope you all enjoyed. Please subscribe and follow Lavender Vibes. Like I said, this is just an example of me just doing different things. So, I will be bringing more videos and content to you really soon. And cheers. I hope everybody enjoyed their St. Patty's Day. I know I will. I know I have. And I will continue to. But until next time, talk to you later.